So here we see it. Nice.
Oh,
Chong
sorry,
mixing it up. Calling with ace. It's very important that you limp some of your big hands like we saw yesterday and we talked about because, you know, because you get such good odds, you're going to limp with a lot of weaker hands as well. It's important to mix in some strong hands like aces and kings, maybe even some ace-king in there, so that you can punish people trying to raise you out of the pot. Because if you're just going to play this face up, limp with all your weaker hands and raise your strong hands, pretty much every time you just flat call the bigger ante, people can put pressure on you and make you fold your weaker hands.
Showman's got Jack-9 suited. Could come on for a call.
Seems like Showman has a pretty good idea of the hands that have strong.
Does have strong equity. Just pretty much going to commit himself if he flops anything.
He's a favorite pre-flop. You see that?
He's a favorite pre-flop. That's
He's
pretty
a favorite
funny.
against aces. That's crazy.
Well, Chong has set the trap. I like this limp shove here.
Yeah, really good.
His opponents don't have anything left. He's going to get committed.
Show.
That is so crazy that he's a favorite there. I think Potashnik could also opted to just go all in himself.
Well, Showman's getting ready to use his bullet tickets. But leave him down.
Yeah.
Don't concede until you lose. That is why.
That's why.
That's what you said, right?
Put your cards back.
So there's one single ace in the deck. Now, he needs that ace in order to knock out Showman.
Nice.
I mean, Chong played the hand perfectly, but sometimes you're just going to get unlucky in this game. But getting unlucky is not really that unlucky because the equities run so close. You're just not that far ahead of your opponent pre-flop.
I mean, people think, you know, jacks are really hard to play in long deck hold'em, regular no limits hold'em. Wait till you play him in this game. Well, gets a little bit easier now. Just trying to work all the different straight draws out of my head. There's a lot. Alright, there's a lot right now. So just for you guys' information, always remember 6-8 is a gut shot here. If you have 6-8 and the 9 hits, you have a straight.
Yes. I was like, let me confirm. So Yong's going to call here of 10-8. Inside straight draw position. Badzikowski now with a full house. He needs to decide, does Yong have a draw? Like a club draw? Well, he needs to charge a club draw because a flush would actually beat him.
Yeah.
But if he's got a straight draw, he wants to check. But if he wants to bet against an ace, so he's trying to decide what hand does Yong have right now. What is the best play to do? So he's going to try to get the straight draws to take stabs here. Probably thinks an ace would bet for him sometimes. Now this is actually perfectly played because Yong has one of the hands where he needs to take a stab at some point, but he's actually going to check. Maybe take a delayed bet later.
It's a little bit tough. Oh my god, what a river.
Yeah, that makes it straight.
Wow, that is crazy. Maybe a saving grace here is that it's a club at least.
Yeah, that's true.
think it's a break.
Vadziakowski's going to try to get value. It's a pot-sized bet. Young hits the card he needs.
Okay. Okay.
But he's facing a pot-sized bet.
That would have been a bad idea. I think.
I was trying to think, what does Vadziakowski play this way? He's wow, he's shoving all in here.
That is so sick.
I would say this is a hand turned into a bluff.
I think so, but that is so incredibly impressive.
Wow.
How mad are you going to be if I do it next break?
You guys are thinking, well, Vadziakowski has a full house. Well, this is an easy call, but in short deck here, a flush beats the full house. So 2 clubs.
Oh, the whole crew's here.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that one yet. I just thought in my head Ace-Jack, Ace-7, Ace-9 are much more common.
Yeah, no, it's the flush.
This is such a sick move. Wow.
So it's 64,000 more chips to Vadziakowski. I mean, Wai Kin Young, one of the best in the Asia region, really showing you some advanced bluffs right now.
This I'm blown away by this one. This is super technical, like just really smart.
I mean, Young's probably thinking, well, I beat a bear ace like ace king, but just in case my opponent has a full house, and if I think he's going to fold full house, might as well try to win both ways.
Yeah. I think there's a possibility that he thinks as well that Vadziakowski wouldn't necessarily bet a flush draw on the flop because it's so much less likely to hit that you're probably just going to take a free card.
Yeah. Well, Vadziakowski really wants to fold, but he really wants to call as well. It's a really tough. I think this motion kind of looks like it's a 50-50 to me.
Yeah.
It looks very credible as a flush.
Yeah,
you know, you see the board pair, you're like, I'm just going to check it, try to make my hand. It's a free card.
Wow.
Vadziakowski's been in the tank for 2 minutes on this decision so far.
Are you at this point worried that your opponent might not know that a flush beats a bluff?
No, he knows that Wai Kin Young is one of the best in the game. That's what I would do. I would ask, hey, by the way, do you know the rules have changed?
That's the old, where are you from? Where are you from?
There is the action. This is actually just a limp pot, too. In a limp pot, I think people don't make crazy bluffs as much in limp pots, so it's even more credible than normal. So Vadziakowski here, almost 3 minutes in the tank, shaking his head.
Yeah, full house? Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay.
He makes the call and catches that bluff.
86.
So Wai Kin Young is going to lose another re-entry ticket, I believe. Or he might have some chips remaining. I'm not quite sure.
Aces, jacks, and the guy said he folded.
Oh, he folded the other two
jacks.
jacks. That's so funny.
Jack rip.
Did that happen too, Ben, you mean?
No, it happened to this dude.
All right, King 10, my favorite hand.
King 10 suited. Showman agrees.
We've seen him get a little bit looser with hands like this yesterday as well. We saw him King Queen offsuit, King 10 offsuit even.
I think usually when it's suited, it's kind of like your breaking point of, okay, I will play it aggressively. Maybe offsuit, I play my hand a little bit more passively, like maybe limps. I think that's a good way to kind of split your range a little bit.
Yeah, kind of like comparing to a hand like 9-7 suited in regular hold'em.
So looks like Young's going to come along with ace-queen. He started today with about 3.2 million chips. It's been on a little bit of a downswing, but still not afraid to play pots. Lim's got ace-10 offsuit on the dealer button. It's not a great hand to play multi-way in a raised pot, but he does have position. He's going to let it go.
Good laydown. Really cool to see these two go head-to-head. Oof.
Showman flops pretty well here. He's going to check.
62% favorite against top pair, top kicker.
Yeah. If Yang bets here and gets raised, he would be in a lot of trouble. Like, just a lot of pressure. 200,000. This is already a huge pot. So Showman, what's he thinking about, you think?
I think what size to raise to. If an all-in makes sense.
As long as the opponent doesn't have like Jack 10, it's really hard for them to continue against a raise.
Yeah. It's also the outs that he has, like let's say you hit a jack, it's unlikely you get paid, right? So I think it's a little bit hard to play this deceptively.
He did just call. Probably doesn't want to play a huge pot so close to the money.
Good point.
Turn is a 10. It's not a good card for both players, so they both check. River card's a 10, so Showman hits trip 10s on a drawy board.
Pretty much the perfect card for him. He can definitely make some bluffs on this board, and Yang can be a little suspicious.
So he checks again. It's going to win this pot. So Yang has lost half of his chips since the start of the day.
Really sorry.
Stack him to the top. Two players off the money. We have a $40,000 bubble. First place prize being 272,000. It's pretty big money for such a short field 10k, 12.5k tournament. I want to point out that anytime you see a Hong Kong dollar divided by 8 to get US dollar.
So Ben Lam raising ace 10 offsuit under the gun. Yang loves to play post flop. He's going to come along with queen jack of clubs.
We definitely see that Yang's style has influenced the table a little bit. Everybody making it 150, you know, 3.5 to 4 times the button ante.
Well, Showman's got jack 9 offsuit on the button. He's got a lot of chips, so he's going to try to see a flop here. You know, if players show weakness, he can definitely stab at pots. Low cards are in his favor.
So, interesting flop here. We have a top pair for Ben Lam, Yang with a flush draw, and then Nick Schulman with a double gut shot. So he makes it straight with a 6 or with a 10. So everybody has a piece of this.
Ben Lam's gonna, looks like he wants a continuation bet his top pair. I think he actually would wish that when he bets here that both players just fold.
Yeah, for sure.
Because when someone calls your flop bet, you kind of think they have ace queen a lot.
It's definitely good though to kind of bet with a decent hand on the flop, even though you're hoping your opponents are folding.
Yeah, it's kind of betting to protect your hand.
Yeah, there's a lot of functions to the bet, exactly.
So Yang's got queen jack of clubs.
Flush draws are very hard to hit. He has some running straight draws though, which increases his percentage by a lot.
So he makes a call. Showman, double gut shot. Looking for a 10 or a 6 to make a straight. getting great odds here too, and position. And he's got very deep stacks, very disguised hand, especially with 10 hits. He's going to lay it down.
Wow.
Maybe he didn't see one of the straights. It is technically possible
It
if you
is
don't play too
possible.
much. And he would have made
Oh
the
my
nut straight.
god. That is the absolute gin card for him. Ben Lam now with 2 pair. He's not going to be putting Yang too much on a straight here. 9-6, very unlikely. Jack-9 as well to be defended against the...
But Yang has picked up a lot of outs. He can hit a king to make a straight. He can hit a 9 to make a nut straight as well. And he's got clubs. And Lam checks top 2 pair here.
Yeah, very smart.
Very tricky. Probably looking to check raise Olin usually. I don't think he's playing this to be because he's worried. I think his read is that Yang is an aggressive player.
This is so tempting for Yang.
The way Yang is touching his chips, he really wants to bet.
Yeah, he's counting them out. So it looks like 450.
Yep. About half of the pot is going in.
Nick Schulman just crying inside right now.
Yeah, I like a graphic on. I want to see Showman's face. I want to know if he folded. He knows he folded it
Yeah,
straight.
let's just put it on Schulman's face for the rest of the hand.
So Ben Lam here. His opponent only has 875k remaining.
All in.
He does make the shove. Yang is going to make the call. This is the biggest pot we've
Oh
seen
my God.
today. 36% chance to win this.
Yeah.
And he's a club, a king, or a 9. Oh, this is a huge pot.
Wow.
3.6 million in the middle. Here comes the river card. River card is a 6.
And Lam does it.
And Wai Ken Yang was the chip leader of day 2. It's now been eliminated from the tournament. Ben Lam is the tournament chip leader. 4.7 million chips.
What a game this is.
I think so. This is 1-9 plus my. Look.
Wow.
師傅
Finishes
以為
two
有
off the
成
money.
係咁嘅。
Alright guys, we're down.
做咩打咁大嘅個 pot？
We're gonna go to one table, so
Well, he got his food with him.
What are the odds on
So
that?
they're going to merge
Like,
to one
flip it
table
on
now.
tables?
8 people left. We're going to be on the bubble.
Even smiling.
Yeah, let's see.
That is cool, yeah.
Jack 10 offsuit. We haven't seen this hand today yet.
That's true. The nuts. Of course, we refer to this hand as the nuts, not because it's necessarily the strongest hand, but it's
It's the best non-premium.
Yes.
But it's kind of a premium
it
too.
really is. Yeah,
It's the best non-aces hand.
yeah. I mean, you can make so many straights with this hand. Of course, you're going to be struggling a little bit more against Jack specifically or something, but when you think about all the hands that you're going to be up against, Jack 10 does so well.
think so?
Also in this game, much easier to make 2 pairs. Straight draws are super strong.
And against Ace King, it's flipping pre-flop.
Really like the race, so play opening up. So everybody guaranteed 40,000 now. Next money jump, reasonably small. There's going to be 48,000. After that, 60,000 and 80,000. So I don't think people need to be too concerned with ICM at this point. ICM, of course, just meaning that winning the most chips doesn't necessarily win you the most money. And when you play with ICM in mind, you need to consider that moving up pay jumps is very important. But if the pay jumps are small, this is not really a consideration, and then you want to focus more on winning chips again, because that gets you further on your way to the top 3. So it's always a very fine balance. We've seen the moves, haven't really taken this into consideration anyway, but still good to mention it because I do think that Nick Schulman and Ben Lam are gonna have this from their tournament experience.
So Fu flops a full house.
Jack 10, dude.
Let's see if he plays it fast or wants to maybe trap it with it. We've seen players take both types of options.
So can only lose to running kings or running diamonds, because flush does beat a boat. Very hard to make flushes in this game. I mean, we rarely see them. Like, how often do we say, oh, he has a flush in the turn or something? It just doesn't happen.
I'm all in. Over.
Ivan's made a misstep. He is drawing dead right now.
Oh my god, Schulman could be going for this.
That is a brilliant check by a Fu. Shulman,
Webster, is this yours?
Yeah, it's mine.
I'll just tear
King
this.
10 of diamonds. He's probably aware that Leo is an aggressive player. He might think if he makes this call that Fu would fold all of his hands, but Fu has a full house.
Really well played by Fu. Really recognized who's behind him, the spot that Schulman could get in.
Shulman's
Wow,
gonna lay
that's a
it down.
great laydown.
Yeah, great laydown. And
Wow, full house, yeah.
Fu has got 100% lock on his hand. Ivan's gonna be the 7th place finisher.
冇得搏咗咯，鬼滅啊！好，
爆嘢啊！OK。
哇，中死啦喂！
There he goes. Before. It's just so much easier for people to push you out the pot now.
Well, Ben Lamb's probably going to try to set the tone. We'll see if any of the bigger stacks are going to want to resist him or not. So first hand of the final table, Chio. He's going to let go King 6. Ace-Jack offsuit. This is the tournament short stack right now. It's a tricky spot because you're undergun +1. You got a good and a not so good hand. You know? It's like, he feel like he's probably already pained. It's a tough spot of Ace-Jack.
It really is, and there we see it. He lets it go. Absolutely cannot blame him. If you get called in this game, even Queen 10, you're just absolutely flipping there. And it's not what you want to do with one spot away from the money. Great disciplined fold there.
So let's see how Ben Lamb plays his big stack. He's got ace-queen. This is a hand where you can put pressure on opponents. He also doesn't want to lose 1.8 million in a hand.
1.6 in hand.
I'm sure he hasn't played with Chow too much outside of this series, so he doesn't really know his tendencies at all.
The sick thing is, in this spot, he really should be able to make Chow fold hands like jacks and tens if he just re-raises him, which is an incredible win for ace-queen.
Yeah. We'll see what Ben Lamb thinks about. He's thinking about all of the tournament stacks of his opponents. Can he get away with his opponent, making his opponent fold very big hands right now?
Ben Lamb, very smart player, really good PLO tournament player. Definitely will be a good experience for him to use that as well on this field. It's very similar games, just because people have always such a big chance to win a hand.
So it looks like he's going to take the more passive option, just call here. He thinks his opponent has a little bit too many chips to just go all in. Shulman, he's got position. He's in 2nd place, King 10. King 10 is a tricky hand, but you do have position, and it's much easier to make straights in this game.
He does like the king eyes.
Yeah. King is definitely alive. Seems a bit pained. He's gonna let it go. Play it safe.
Great decision.
Ivan with King Jack offsuit. Ivan doesn't look like he's gonna fold this hand. But much different styles. 3-way to the flop. This is the first hand of the final table on the official bubble right now.
Great flop for Lamb here. There is a straight out there if somebody has 9-7. It's going to be pretty unlikely that Lamb would have 9-7 as he's pretty early position still, but Leo definitely could have that. But I think Chow continues here with a C-bets.
So Chow has the worst hand, but he's going to fire at it. Ben Lamb's got top pair, queen kicker.
Cash game goal last night.
I mean, Chow can represent ace king pretty well. Fortunately, one of his opponent has is an ace.
I don't know.
It's kind of funny too because here we see the situation with ace queen. Now that you take it a little bit more slow pre-flop, you're like, okay, you know, and then the turn is maybe a jack or a 10 or 9. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you're basically just sweating a lot of turn and river cards. So turn's a king.
Hopefully the entries will
It gives Chow an inside straight draw. If Chow bets again, he can really represent a strong hand here. He's going for it.
I really like this bet.
He bets 350,000. It's a little bit small relative to pot, but it's tricky. Ben Lamb here of ace queen, top pair, top kicker right now. Ben Lamb, the main hand he'd be worried about is ace king. Aces, kings occasionally.
How much is it?
1 million.
Chow really trying to represent a big hand, trying to make his opponent fold a hand like, you know, ace jack, ace 10 suited, some pocket queens, pocket jacks type hands.
What a tough spot for him. Because on the other hand, you know, the king appearing makes it less likely your opponent has ace king.
Yeah. Ben Lamb seems a bit torn because, you know, pre-flop he wasn't sure if he should be re-raising or calling. He took the passive line because he thinks his opponent might have a big hand. His opponent's betting twice. It's kind of falling in line with, man, my opponent might really have a big hand here.
That's a really good point.
Ben Lamb, you got to keep in mind, Ben Lamb's a chip leader. When the guy who's doing pretty good in tournament is betting into a chip leader, usually it means strength on a literal bubble.
Yeah.
So the story is looking quite in Chow's favor.
And chip leaders don't like to call off too lightly because they want to keep in the chip leading spot. It's okay to throw in chips when you're the aggressor, but to do it passively is very dangerous for chip leaders.
Well, he's going to shove them all in.
Whoa.
So Ben Lamb is correctly deduced that he's got the best hand.
This is a great read.
Yeah, it's a great read. He must have maybe read into the sizing possibly like, maybe you would bet bigger if you had ace king. I mean, Ben Lamb is great at live tells as well. He did something. This is definitely not a standard play, I would think.
Nope. Wow, great move there. Really sniffed that one out. And I think that in this game, you know, some people might think, well, if he thought he had the best hand, why didn't he just call? Because the board changes so much on the river. Every card is going to be a scare card.
Yeah. And something you want to think about is occasionally you can move your opponent off of a chop, right?
Yeah,
you know,
true.
that's a very hard call. If Chow had ace queen there,
Yeah.
he might actually probably fold as well. So you can get your opponent fold a chop. That's always a big win. Two all-ins. It's going to be a coin flip.
Jack's pretty reasonable hand to just get it in with pre-flop. Plays very tough post. I know most of you guys that are watching hate playing pocket jacks in regular no limit hold'em.
Can it? What's the odds? So Jack's a slight favorite, right?
Ben Lamb getting some knowledge before these cards are dealt.
50, I think.
Who's the favorite?
You can learn a lot even when you're not in the hand. You see the flop.
Wow.
Oh,
The flops in this game are
So
just
Lim
outrageous.
flops a flush draw with his pair of queens, but Showman hit a set of jacks, so he's got 37% chance to win. Still reasonable equity.
yeah, because even if the 9 is, if there's a 9 on the turn, he can still win it with a diamond. Remember, folks, flush beats a full house. So if there's a diamond on the turn here, it's game over for this hand. And Schumann would lose one, but he's still out front.
Turn is a king. So now Lim can make a straight with a 10 or hit a diamond. 29% chance coming into the river card. Card is an 8. So Showman's going to eliminate Lim. Lim is going to get 6th place, 47,000 USD. I mean, he played solid, got a couple pay jumps there, but now he's fallen.
Chow's been pretty quiet. He's definitely shown us some loose play over the days. Got out of line a little bit earlier with Queen 10. Ben Lam with another monster. Oof, real hand here for Shulman as well. This could be trouble. They're pretty deep though. Looks like he's facing a 260k raise from Ben Lam.
All in.
He is gonna go all in. This could be a massive pot, and we are pretty sure that Ben Lam is gonna call him. Oof, we're gonna get out of the way with the queens unsuited.
So this is a big pot right now. Kings versus Ace Queen.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Doing fine.
This is a lot of antes in there. 5 million chip pot. Quite possibly the biggest pot of the tournament. 39% chance for Ace Queen. So this is how close it is. Just because someone's got kings, you have a good chance of winning it.
39%. That's insane.
So Shulman looking for a 7 or an ace. A 7 would make him a straight. Ace acting as a 5. 45% chance.
Ace of diamonds.
38% chance to win it outright. Here comes the turn card. Turn card is a 7. Shulman makes a straight. But Ben Lam, he picks up a heart draw.
This game.
Can also chop it up. If the right card comes on the river.
You gotta be greedy in these spots.
Wow, massive pot there for Nick Shulman, and he overtakes the chip lead.
Shulman, 5 million chips, the new chip leader. Got it in bad, but not that bad. Just 60-40.
I mean, great hand to get it all in with. If you have 40% against kings.
You got a lot of fold equity, of course, and if you get called, you're not that far behind.
0.4.
Ivan Leo was the 7th place finisher. Tom Chio was the bubble boy. Kings versus Ace King of Ben Lam. King's not doing too well against Ace X all in pre-flop. Here's Pocket Kings. Shulman, he limps under the gun. This is tricky. Chow comes along. Lam with pocket 10s.
I think in a previous situation, Lam would have been very tempted to just go all in, but now with another big stack, or an even bigger stack in the tournament, might be tempted to limp, to just check, I'm sorry.
He's going to take a free flop because Shulman is very deep stack right now.
Avoided the trap there.
Here comes the flop. Jack 8-6. Shulman with the best hand. Chow looking for a 10, but Lam has 2 of the 10s, and Shulman checks. Shulman's been quite tricky.
Also thinks that if I blow up the pot here, I might be in a really tough turn spot if a 7 or 10 or 9 rolls off. Good bet by Lam, but not going to work in this case.
I think given how deep Shulman is with Lam, he's probably not going to raise. So he is just going to call. Also, Lam is on dealer button. He can really have like random 2 pair, like Jack 6, Jack 8, 8-6. Very reasonable.
Yeah.
Chow's going to come along with his inside straight draw. He can make the nuts by hitting a 10.
There's a lot of really cool turns to bluff for Lamb because he blocks possible nut straights.
Turn card is an 8.
It's a pretty good guard for Schulman.
Is the next break in 2 minutes?
Pretty unlikely somebody bets an 8 on this flop.
So Ben Lamb, he's seen 2 opponents call him. He probably knows he's not ahead. Usually someone will have at least a jack by the turn. Not sure if he can represent too much. Although he could represent like a flop 2 pair that turned into a full house. Depends if he wants to take that. He has lost a lot of chips recently. We don't know if that will affect his decision at all. He's going for it.
Oh, this is a really good bet. I really like the aggression here.
445,000.
It's pretty unlikely Schulman limps something with an 8. It's way more common that he has a jack here.
Yeah, he probably puts Schulman on a hand like Queen Jack, Jack 10, maybe like a Jack 9, King Jack. Something that might not be able to stand a lot of heat. Lamb is pretty much just purely bluffing here. Pocket 10s. Schulman's going to make the call, pocket kings. He's keeping the pot controlled, not letting his opponents raise him by just check calling. Chow here of Queen 9 offsuit just really doesn't have anything. He's drawing dead, likely to let it go. Unless he's got some really crafty play where he can trying to represent an 8, but he's going to fold. So Lamb really needs a 10.
At this point, it becomes really scary for Lamb. Didn't expect to get called on the turn quite often.
So river card is a 9. Lamb, like you said,
Yeah.
has the 2-10, so he blocks those straights for his opponents.
And don't forget, he's a very experienced PLO player. This is a spot that comes up a lot in Omaha. You can represent a lot of things when you have blockers to a strong hand.
Let's point out there's a flush on the river. He might not think that Schulman would play a flush draw this passively, although he did in the past. Lamb can represent a lot of hands. He can represent a full house, a flush, maybe a straight. When you bet in the turn, this is the type of card you might want to consider keep firing because it's quite scary for someone to check call to flop and turn. If Schulman has a hand like ace-jack, like, I don't know if he's going to call river bet.
Yeah. I mean, even with kings, he's in an incredibly tough spot. Pretty much everything that was bluffing gets there, right? In your eyes.
And the thing is, when you're bluff catching, you got to put your opponents on bluffs, and there's no real bluffs besides hands that turn themselves into a bluff like this. Like there's no missed flush draw on the flop. Got there. So that's why he's firing this. Looked like he's firing this big bet. 1,030,000.
I think this is a great bluff. This is just shows really good understanding of the situation. He picked a hand that he can bluff future streets with. This is really well planned out.
I think Lamb knows that Schulman has less experience in short deck as well, but he does know he's pretty good at hand reading. So this looks like a big hand. Lamb is on the dealer button. He can have any 2 cards on the flop.
Good point.
He could have Jack 8. He could have 6-8. He could have a flush, any kind of flush draw.
Yeah.
You know, he could be playing like a hand like Queen 7 of spades. Schulman is very suspicious. Some players might insta let this go, but he knows that Lamb's a good player.
I'll be amazed if he finds a call here.
So Schulman in the tank for 1 minute. He's thinking about a lot of things like the stack sizes. Like, maybe he's putting a lot of pressure on me because I'm a big stack as well. Some players like to bluff players who, you know, are kind of in that middling situation. Showman's got very good intuition. You're probably thinking, I should fold based on how it ran out, how he's betting into me, but I know Ben Lam can bluff this spot. This is real poker right now, just trying to figure out what your opponent is trying to do.
Two great players in a really marginal situation. God, you hate to see somebody counting it out when you're bluffing. Setting apart the chips. So much easier to just grab them and put in the call.
Showman now in the tank for 2 minutes. Quite possibly one of the longest tanks we've seen so far today. It's tough. It's a big pot. It's a lot on the line. Sometimes you don't want to make the call and be like, yeah, you get seen a full house. You're like, man, I should have folded. So a lot of emotions running into this play as well.
How many players does a 60k have?
I'm not sure where Showman's looking at now. Very well experienced player.
I think this is an incredible bluff. I think this is really well planned out. If Nick Shulman makes the call here, I'm going to be absolutely amazed. That would be the call of the tournament for me. Oh my god, he makes the call.
Sick call. Pocket kings.
That is incredible. That is incredible. What a call.
Showman showing you why he's one of the best in the game. He doesn't have that much experience in short deck. Makes one of the sickest calls of the tournament.
That must feel sickening for Ben Lam. Great bluff by him. Really well technically put together bluff there.
Yeah, Ben Lam not really representing any obvious bluffs. Still gets picked off. Showman commanding chip lead. He was a short stack starting this day too. Playing great throughout. Of course, he did hit some hands where he got a little bit lucky, but he's been playing excellent. He's been playing aggressive, going with his reads, putting himself in contention to win event number 1. Also, keep in mind this is short deck, as Pogorski was always saying. Short deck. Anyone always has a lot of equity. All in pre. You can't control pre-flop.
Swings are going to be insane. I mean, we could be talking about Ben Lam in 3 hands as the ultimate chip leader again. Makes it really fun to watch. It's very volatile.
So Chow's favorite hand, Jack 9 suited. He's in it. Ben Lam, Ace Jack. He's in 4th place right now.
Interesting limp along.
About how much do you play?
4.7, I think.
So Showman, he's got 10-9 offsuit. He's not going to fold. He's trying to decide if he should raise and punish. Just call.
If he raises, it might save Ben Lam. Otherwise, Ben Lam could have limp shoved on the raise against Fu. But
how much are you playing, Nick?
7.
This is such a sick spot, though, for Fu. Because there's 3 people with much less chips than him. If he loses against Shulman, that would be a disaster. Finishing 5th here.
It would be bad, but I mean, what other play can he do? We just shove all in and just pray his opponent doesn't have aces.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean,
there's also such a big comeback potential for shorter stacks. So waiting for short stacks to bust is much less rewarding, than it would be in regular no limit hold'em.
I think Fu was surprised he's got pocket kings. He's like, oh, this is a sick decision because I'm so deep.
Yeah, there's
Fu's in 2nd place. Showman's in 1st place. If they somehow were able to get all in, that would be a 9 million chip pot. So But Fu doesn't want to bust before all these other players. My read is all-in is probably the most likely best play, but I'm not too sure. What do you think?
Man, I think so. There's 700k in the middle. I don't think you have another choice. It's just one of those 6-6-6 situations. And the thing is, you know, like the people watching might think, you know, well, he has kings. What is he really concerned about? But ace queen has 40% against you. 40% to beat you. That is not the spot you want to be in.
So it looks like Fu is just going to 3-bet. He's not going to shove.
I like this.
It also looks insanely strong because no one has 3-bet not all in.
Yeah.
This is the very first one. He shouldn't really get played back at by a hand like ace queen anyways.
Chow. Very easy get out of the way here for Lam. Really just hopes that Fu and Shulman clash.
Shulman 10-9 off, so he has 34% equity against pocket kings. I think he's going to think that Fu just has too many chips to start this hand. There has been no 3-bets that weren't all in yet. So this screams strength, should scream strength to Shulman right now. So he's going to make the call.
Wow.
So by not shoving all in pre-flop with kings, he's let Shulman come along, see a flop. This could get very dicey. There's 3 million chips in the middle.
Yeah. Oh my god.
10-7-6. If you're Shulman and you call a 3-bet, I don't really see how you can not get your chips in here because this is just one of the good flops out there for you.
This is what you're hoping for.
So this is going to be this is a huge pot already. 3 million in the middle.
This really shows the danger of just 3-betting.
So action is on Shulman, trying to decide maybe he should just bet out himself. Maybe occasionally he can get some big hands like kings and queens to fold. Trying to represent a really big hand.
Yeah, it would be massive for him still to get kings out of the way.
I think the only real credible, really big hand he can represent right now is like 8-9 though, because everyone would fold 6s, 7s, and 10s here pre-flop. So he leads out 750,000. If Fu can really think about this, he might realize that Shulman usually only has 8-9 for a made good hand.
Yeah, and he's not leading that.
And he shouldn't be leading that because he doesn't want to make his... So he just shoves all in.
Oh
Fu's figured it out. He's not afraid of 8-9. He just knows that Shulman really shouldn't have a set here ever. Or straight.
Yeah, there's no way Shulman can get away from this.
Yeah, this is a really nice read by Fu. He doesn't care that he's in second place and getting all these chips in. He's 54%. Shulman's going to make the call. This is the biggest pot of the tournament. 9.5 million chips in the middle.
What a spot also for the other stacks. They're really hoping that Shulman takes it down here. What a coin flip this is.
So Shulman needs an 8, 9, or 10 to knock out Fu. This is a massive pot. Ivan Leo on a rail. Chow's watching his hand. Can Shulman get there? 43% chance.
If you win this, it makes the tournament a lot easier to play for both of us.
It does. It does. Yeah.
Turn card's a 9. So Shulman catches up, but Fu, he needs to hit a 6, a 7, or a king, or an 8 to chop it up.
Bored for me, but
Still has 43%.
There's still a lot of cards remaining.
Also a
could
tie
save
out there
him.
with an 8.
Yeah,
直男係黃，
6. I don't think about that.
comes the river
真
card.
㗎嘛，打鬼佬啊，大佬。
River card's a 9. Fu is out in second place.
What a pot.
I mean, he was a second place guy. He's out. He just lost all of his chips there. Showman is 12 million chip leader right now.
$15.5 or more than me. All in.
Really thinking he might get a call here from Schulman.
Lamb is running out of antes.
I don't think I can, but let me just. I can't imagine.
2.8 million.
It's not what you want to hear when you got King 10 offsuit. So he
There
makes
you
the
go.
call.
Good luck.
43% equity for Schulman.
This is gonna be a lot more fun.
Ồ, hàng ngọc chủ chết.
Might even be more fun for you, to tell you the truth.
I'm rooting for me, but you know, I'll be very emotionally centered with a loss here. I feel like I can bounce back.
Who do you guys want to win?
Honestly, Nick.
What?
Like,
Obviously, Nick.
That's messed up. King deuce deuce.
Here comes the flop. Ace, ace, jack. Showman pairs his jack. Lamb needs a king, a queen.
56%.
guess what I'm thinking.
You're thinking queen.
Turns a straight.
You're thinking that card? Gives me what?
Oh, does not turn a straight,
Hey,
excuse me.
I'll settle
Three of
for
spades
pink.
isn't
Turns a pair of
coming.
tens. King,
Four of
queen, or
diamonds.
10.
I gotta stop making that joke. I can't.
That's
Yeah.
it.
GG.
GG for Ben Lamb. He was the table chip leader of 8.2 million chips at one point. He's going to be eliminated in fourth
Webster.
place.
Webster.
Very well played.
Yeah.
What do you think about Ben Lamb's play throughout
Say one
this
more hand.
tournament?
I'm really impressed. Like, he just did really well. I think he picked up a lot of, you
What
know,
happened? He left for the
strategies from
break
really good
already?
players.
Yeah.
We could go on break. I mean,
Gets
I-
fourth, $80,000. His
wanna
first
just start it
first
and not,
introduction
like,
to
open out of the hand?
short deck
I
poker.
don't-
Yeah, I think
Hey.
he's got a real
Hey.
good grasp of the game. Leader, we got Kenneth Key and Chow, the day 1A chip leader, still in this tournament. Right now it's the Nick Showman show. First hand underway.
Wow.
Pocket aces.
All in.
All in.
Wow.
Jack 10 though.
Jack 10.
You're
It's
gonna
got
hit someone.
34% equity against pocket aces
never
right now.
You have a chance.
I have
You
a chance.
definitely have a chance.
Yeah,
You have a chance.
Wow, first hand after
All in rồi.
the break.
Ờ.
All in and call.
Như thế nào
Chow,
Linh?
who was in second place out of these three remaining players, is at risk.
我得10隻。
Oh.
So,
Flops, trip tens.
short deck.
點？
I had 10-6 offsuit.
Nice, nice,
哇
Kenneth
你
Key.
有10仔
Showman needs an ace.
都冇
There's
關
two left in the deck.
Still 12%. What a flop.
Turn card is an 8.
2, 4, 8, 36, 2. All right.
Terrible for Key as well. This.
River card's an
Oh
ace.
my God.
And
No
Chow has
way.
been eliminated.
I'm sorry,
GG.
bro. That's a rough way for it to run out.
Okay, GG, can I buy out? It's like fun for sure.
Just laughing.
Wow.
咁
Unbelievable.
個 bad beat 真係哇！我差唔多同佢夠抽㗎啦。
First hand after the break. What a run of cards. You get to act last. You get to see what your opponent does. And if you raise into a button he calls, you have to play out of position throughout the rest of the hand, so you probably will see a lot of limping.
Yep. Very important to also limp with some strong hands.
So ranges are going to be very wide because both players are probably going to never open fold too much. So this will change the dynamic of how to play post flop. Check, check on the flop. Showman just got a straight draw. Betting 260k.
King of spades for Key.
Yeah, so he's got some straight draws, some flush draws, both high card hands. So, do you think maybe Key's looking to call usually? Maybe consider raise? I think with position, I like calling because you can see what happens on the river,
Yeah.
see if your opponent likes it or not.
Yeah, he's gonna get a lot of information on the river again. See if Nick checks or bets, and it's just the power position. So I would definitely like to see a call here. There's also still a chance that Nick is still trapping. That he was trapping pre-flop. Flop really strong.
So Key's going to make the call. Try to hit his hand or maybe get checked to. He can bluff at it.
That is
a
a royal flush. Oh my god.
That
Wow,
is a
Spader
royal
never
flush.
disappoints.
Showman just has a pair of queens. He's thinking about it. That is a very scary card for most opponents usually. He's going to check. It's not too often you see a royal flush on stream.
That is crazy. Gonna be really hard for him to extract value, unfortunately, but already pretty sizable pot for him. This does increase his stack by a lot.
Yeah, every pot's important when you're so short. So he's gonna try to get some value out of maybe a straight. Occasionally his opponent has a weak spade.
I really like the sizing that he picks. We saw him do this earlier with a weaker hand, and now he does it with a royal flush.
Yeah, just show. You gotta show the royal flush.
How about? I haven't seen a flush all tournament.
Yeah, flushes are hard to make, let alone a royal.
Yeah, you see a flush. When you finally see a flush, it's a royal.
Were you ever gonna fold?
Huh?
By moving on 10, were you ever gonna fold? With this?
Yeah, I would have had to fold. I had queen high.
So again, the trophy. First event. Our little short deck warm-up event that turned out to be a massive 272k first place. Craziest high stakes week we got here. Keep calling her with queen 10, doesn't want to get raised off his hand again. Shulman running really hot. Would imagine Key's gonna limp call here. Hand plays pretty well.
Yeah, 650,000. It's a lot of chips for him to call, but we got queen 10 suited, heads up against an aggressive opponent.
I have to see flops.
It's like just see a flop and go from there. Nice card about holding the 10. Usually your opponent isn't dominating you because these aren't people don't raise with a 10 in their hand too often. So he is going to make the call as you predicted.
That is a straight up disaster.
0.2% chance to win this pot. He needs running 10s.
3 diamonds on board, but still it's going to be almost impossible to get away from this, I think.
All in a call.
Oh my god, that's it.
Oh, wow.
So he needs to hit some, maybe it's like running diamonds to chop it up is a more likely scenario. Shulman, if he can hold here, will be the champion, and Kenneth Key will be second place.
0.2%. Oh my god, what a brutal finish there for Key. Nick Schulman running really hot in the heads up early in the tournament as well. But you know what? You need to run good to win tournaments.
Well, here comes the turn card. It's a 9, and this tournament is over. Congratulations to Nick Schulman.
What an awesome show. First time playing this game. Figuring the game out as he went and goes straight on to victory. So this definitely won't be his last.
A little fist pump. Did you see that?
Fist bump, yeah.
Double fist pump. So Schulman's going to win $272,000. Kenneth Key, the runner-up, will get $168,000
Doesn't feel like I
USD.
just won. Where is it? You know?
No, he played really well. Schulman just flew out here for day 1B. Never played a short deck event before. Just studied the game. He's the champion of event number 1.
What a great win.